This edition of the Tech Savvy Interpreter is brought to you by Think Interpreting. Join interpreting service and technology providers from around the globe at the 5th anniversary edition of Think Interpreting at Gala's Language of Business Conference, March 13th through the 16th, 2018, in beautiful Boston, Massachusetts. Don't delay. Early bird registration ends January 31st. For more information, go to gala-global.org. Hello, Barry Slaughter-Olson, the Tech Savvy Interpreter here at the Kudo studio in Washington, D.C. Some of you may have heard about this new studio that's opened up. Today was the maiden voyage for the studio. I had a chance to work in the Spanish-English booth. We also had a Portuguese-English booth here on site and a German-English booth from Europe. The meeting actually took place in New York City in Midtown Manhattan. So we just finished up and they said I could do a quick video if I like. Just wanted to mention a few things about the studio. We're in ISO standard booths, and rather than the typical consoles that you may be used to seeing, we actually have laptops with a second screen so that we can not only have our console on the screen but then also see the slides on the other. We had a technician who was on site the entire time. In fact, I'll introduce you to Patrick in just a little bit, and he'll tell you a little bit about what it was he was doing while we were doing our work. And just other things, infrastructure. It's great here, very comfortable, easy place to work, lots of parking, and made for a nice, simple, very pleasant job. So I'll show you a little bit more of Kudo here as well. Pretty typical view here, nothing novel about it. Just coming into the booths, you'll notice that you have a laptop and a second screen for each interpreter with regular headphones with a boom mic, and that's about it. But rather than looking out on a meeting, where there's no one here today participating in the meeting, it was just the interpreters, we watch our video on the screen. Of course, there's no video now because we've wrapped up, but on one screen, I have my interpreter console, and on the other, I have the opportunity to see the slides. One thing that is a little different about the Kudo interface is that it actually is mouse-driven. So you do use your mouse to turn your microphone on and to switch channels and whatnot. Takes a little bit of getting used to, because you don't have a physical console anymore that you're using to adjust your volume or to switch languages. But other than that, it's just about like being in a regular booth at a regular meeting. Only, again, you're using a video feed rather than looking out the windows at your participants. So we've just wrapped up the maiden voyage of the Kudo studio here at the Washington, D.C. office of Kudo. And with me is Patrick Walsh from Kudo, who was actually our monitor, I guess is what you'd call it. Patrick,
that's right.
Tell me what you were doing while we were doing our interpreting work.
Well, in this particular setup, we actually had two operators. We had an operator in New York, and then we had an operator here in D.C. So the operator in New York was in allowing those participants who wanted to ask questions, that sort of thing, to get into the system. And what I was doing from this end was monitoring the channels, answering interpreter questions via the chat functionality here, and to make sure that everybody that was working in the booths here was comfortable with the program.
Okay, super. Well, one thing that was interesting is that we had three languages being interpreted, right? We had, the meeting was mainly in English, also in Spanish, but we had Spanish and Portuguese here in DC, and then we actually had German coming from Madrid.
Yes.
Not something you'd expect, but one of the interesting things that these new technologies allow us to do. But anyway, Patrick, thanks so much for explaining that, and thanks for being our technician.
Oh, my pleasure, Barry. Good to speak with you.
So there you have it, the Kudo remote interpreting studio here in Washington, D.C. This is technology that is affecting the way interpreters work today. And I expect more of these studios to spring up in different cities all over the world as meetings continue to move online and as we see new ways of communicating across languages. I hope you found this informative, and if you did, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, and stay tuned because there'll be more videos this year about the technologies affecting how interpreters work.